Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and I thought I'd show you what it would look like if I were to sit backwards on my e-bike as I left to go fly my Mini 2 drone. And so I'm heading about 4 miles away into town, and we'll get a view of where they're building a car wash. And you notice how fast that dog can run backwards? So what I happened to do, I forgot to start the recorder when I left this morning, so this is returning home in reverse. Anyway, so let's take a look at where I went. Starting from the right, went on down the same road, and then over on the left you can see where I did some curlicues around to get to where I could easily film the construction site. So we'll pick it up where I just came to the site, and you can see they're working on the cinder blocks there. And so we'll go over behind some trees over here and set up, and we'll fly up over the top of those guys and watch them for a while. In the meantime, I'll tell you a story about doing candy drops with my airplane. Now, I did them a long time, but what you do is you roll, you make strips of paper and tape them and roll them around Tootsie Rolls, and then when it falls out, then you got this streamer. And so we would take a couple of bags, paper bags full of, several hundred Tootsie Rolls, all ready to go. And then we would fly over, and in this particular case I'm going to tell you about, we had a boy in the back and then my son in the front. The boy in the back handed the bags to my son, who would open the door on the right side and dump the candy out when we got to the right place. Well, we did this one when we were at the boys' boarding school. Teenage boys that were in trouble, and they were at the boarding school. So we wanted to do something special. And the only thing is the wife of the guy that ran the boarding school. She was nervous about everything, and so there's one boy that wanted to go with us. I mean, he was pretty enthused about going to help drop the candy for the rest of the boys, because they'd get down on this great big field, and then we'd fly over, and I'd fly over at a slow speed, maybe 60 miles an hour or less, and okay, now we're going to take off, so let's take a look at that. And then we're going to go over to the construction site. So anyway, they all got out on the big field, and this lady, she kept, before we ever started, she says, please don't fall out the door when they open it, and she was all worried. So what my son did, yeah, the same son that has us living at his place, is he made this dummy. He stuffed clothes, jeans and a shirt, and by the way, we've got a stray bird in the background, so you might hear it chirping, but anyway, so he stuffed this dummy full of a sponge and put tennis shoes on it, and I can't remember what he used for a head, but anyway, he stuffed it full of sponge and tied everything together so it was one piece, looked like a human being. And so on the first pass, as we came by, and we dropped a bag of Tootsie Rolls, and of course they flutter down. And by the way, I will put a link to the candy drop that I did for the folks that lived across the street from us, for the kids in that area. I did a candy drop for them when I had my Mavic 2 Zoom. And that bird, my grandson found him laying on the ground, and we were feeding him, and he wants to try to keep him from dying. He has a real tender heart towards animals. So he's in the room with me here and doing pretty well. He was pretty much dead when my son found him. I guess the cat got him or something. But anyway, so as you can see, it looks like a car wash. And I think you go in the right-hand side, because that's got the big door, and then it hooks you up to the rails, and then you go down and you go out the other end, out the left end. And so and I think that's how it's going to be. So now that guy down there in that super big forklift, we'll watch him doing whatever he's going to do to get his job done there. So anyway, so the guys got out on the field. We came over at a real slow speed. My son opened the door and dumped a huge paper bag full of Tootsie Rolls, and of course they all fluttered down to the ground. So then, and of course everybody got this on videos except me. I was flying a plane, so I don't have a video to show it. But so then we went around and we came again, and then the second time they picked up the dummy out of the back seat, and as we approached the field, my son opened the door and they shoved the dummy out. And of course, when he first came out, it was panic, and I wish I had the videos of the poor lady who was she was so scared. So anyway, but I don't have videos of that. That's too many years ago. So anyway, the thing that didn't work right was because it was stuffed full of sponge. Instead of falling to the ground like a human being would, it kind of floated through the air and slowly came down to the ground. So there was an original panic because she thought that boy that was in the boarding school had fallen out, which he hadn't. So anyway, that was kind of a fun thing, and we played a trick on her, and all the boys enjoyed it, and then they all enjoyed watching the video. So anyway, I've got a poem I'll read you. This is one I wrote for my son many years ago when he was a boy, and a little boy, and it's kind of a long one, so we better get started. All right. There's a bow and arrow against the wall. By the way, it's called The Bow. There's a bow and arrow against the wall in my little guy's room at the end of the hall. Many months have passed since it last was shot. It's not seen much use since the day it was bought. Oh, the weather's been right, and he's had the time, and there's many a target, and it works just fine. 'Twas his birthday present a year ago, and I was sure he wanted it so. For I'd watched him as he grew from naught through the years as a little tot, and one of the interests that he seemed to show, taking a stick and a string and making a bow. I wish I had kept count of the number of bows he made from limbs and sticks, but who knows? He'd come running in to get some string. He seemed to be happy with anything, and most of his projects ended the same. The stick would break or the limb go lame. But a few of his bows seemed to work just fine, and I was so proud of that boy of mine. I always felt bad as I'd watch him fail, and I guess that's the reason I'm sharing this tale. For I wanted to help and save him the pain of failing and trying and failing again. So last year, for his birthday, I went to the store. I was thinking he won't have to fail anymore, and I bought him a bow that I knew wouldn't break, and learned a lesson that I'll never forsake. For it wasn't the bow or the arrow he needed, but the process of trying and being defeated, and bending and stretching and hoping for strength, and searching for chords that could master the length. I watched through each project without ever knowing he wasn't making bows. He was growing. And by my making it easy through my thoughtless giving, I smothered part of my boy's joy of living. He's not made a bow or an arrow since then, and I doubt that he'll ever make another again. So now when I watch as he struggles and falls, and down in my heart a father's voice calls, and I want to step in and give him a hand, I've got to remember he's becoming a man. And though bumps and bruises may oftentimes show, I must never forget what I learned from the bow. So anyway, here we come back home. Now the dog's running straight. It's running forward. And this is what it looked like when I came back from doing my filming. But like I said, I forgot to put it down when I left. So anyway, we're home. The video's over. I hope you enjoyed the video and the poem. I want to thank you for watching, and God bless.